like, I don't want to offend anybody by saying like I feel like I'm half Vietnamese, but that's exactly how I feel. I just want to be understood. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thanks for joining. If you're already subscribed, thank you so much. My name is Audrey, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about my identity as somebody who is American but married to Vietnamese. So it's almost like I have two different identities, or maybe like a melding pot of both, if that makes sense. So if you're new here, my name is Audrey. My husband is Huy. He is from Vietnam. We got married, oh god, 11 years ago. We've been together for 14 years, and so over the past 14 years I have learned a lot about Vietnam, the language, the culture, the food, everything. So I actually made a similar video, I think a few years ago, probably like 5 or 6 years ago, about my identity as an American who also identifies as Vietnamese in a sense. So I'm just going to talk a little bit more about that today because it's been a while since the topic came up on this channel. So yeah, I feel weird to say such a thing because obviously I'm not Vietnamese. I do not have the lived experience of being a person from Vietnam at all. But I feel like my experience is very unique in a sense because while I'm American 100% and I literally knew nothing about Vietnam aside from the war, when I met my husband, that's like literally the only thing I knew was that there was a war, and I watched the movie Good Morning Vietnam. That was literally all I knew. And now, you know, over the years I have taken the initiative to not only teach myself the language but also to understand the culture, because I think you automatically kind of learn more about the culture as you learn a language, which is also why I love learning languages. So if you're interested in more language videos, please let me know down below. I'd love to make some videos, obviously speaking Vietnamese, but also practicing other languages. But I think as you naturally learn a language, you learn the culture in a sense, because you start to understand the emphasis that people put on different things in their speech. So, you know, like for example, in Vietnamese, family is very important, especially the hierarchy of like who is who. So when you're talking to somebody in Vietnamese, you actually have, there's no I, you. It's not like in English where it's just I, you, you. You use the word based on the person and where they are in the family tree. So just like learning that was like one of the first things I learned in Vietnamese, and that alone taught me a lot about the differences in how Vietnamese people think about family versus American. When I first met my husband, I was very individualized, I think. Like, I didn't think of a I really only thought about myself. Like, not to sound selfish, because I wasn't a selfish person. I was a nice person. Like, I was still kind and helping people, but I think for me, I never really understood the emphasis of the family, like not even just the nuclear family, but the outside family as well, if that makes sense, like the extended family, not the outside family. So that's something that I learned in the very beginning of learning Vietnamese. I learned how to greet people the proper way, and so like I couldn't make a sentence, but I knew who was who in the family tree, so it was quite interesting to start there. So it's 2014 now. I actually started learning Vietnamese in like 2011. I met my husband in 2010, and then right shortly after that I started learning like the names of the people in the family, the numbers, and some basic phrases. And then in 2013 I went to Vietnam for the first time. We got married in Vietnam, so I do have an old video talking about my Vietnamese wedding. I'm hoping to make an updated version just because I feel like that's such an old video. I'd love to like, I guess, relive it again and tell the story again so that I can remember it. But anyways, I got married in 2013 in Vietnam. It was my first time going there, and that is when I really got thrown into learning Vietnamese, because my in-laws do not speak any English. Zero, zilch, nada. Unless you want to count like thank you, hello, but they really don't speak any English at all. So I am the type of person who has always had like a global mindset. Like, I like meeting people from different countries. I like learning languages. So when my husband and I got married, I automatically went toward I need to learn this language over I need him to translate for me, because I didn't want to have my relationship just be my husband translating for me to his parents or like his family. Like I didn't want that. So in the beginning it was tough. I actually studied Mandarin Chinese before I went to Vietnam. So it's funny when you're learning multiple languages, because the one that you use the most, like the foreign language you use the most, will try and like overcrowd the others. So the first time I went to Vietnam, I was trying to speak Vietnamese and I would just like mid-sentence blurt out a Chinese word because I was so used to speaking Chinese. I was living in Beijing for 5 months before I went to Vietnam. So it was just like first nature. I was like, okay, my brain's like, okay, foreign language, Chinese. But then I had to like retraining myself. I'm like, foreign language, not Chinese, Vietnamese. So there are some loan words between Mandarin and Vietnamese that you can see, as well as French, which I also studied French in high school. So it's interesting to like study all of these related languages because they're all very different languages. They are not the same at all. Like obviously French is French, like it's like with the verb conjugations and all that. Chinese has your characters and tones, and then Vietnamese is kind of like a blend of both, because you have, I guess, the Roman alphabet, but then you also have the tones. So it's interesting. So anyways, the first time I went to Vietnam, I was like trying to speak Vietnamese, but I was also very shy and nervous. So if you are like me in the beginning and you're very shy, it really does help to just speak, even though you're gonna make like a mistake every other word. Like just try. So, you know, I started learning Vietnamese and I've been back to Vietnam how many times? 2013, 2016, 2018, 2019, and 2023. I've been 5 times. I'm going again in 2 months. I'm very excited. But every time I go back to Vietnam, my Vietnamese improves a lot more. Although I will say now, my mother-in-law lives with us. She's been with us for 3 years, I think. Wow, that's a long time. She's been living here in the States with us for 3 years. So since she's been living here, my Vietnamese like got really good because I literally have no choice. I have to speak Vietnamese every single day of my life. And we're raising our kids bilingual, so it's just crazy to see the contrast from when we first met. I knew zero, and now I'm like very easy at having like conversations with his mom in Vietnamese completely. Like there's no English allowed because she doesn't know English. I can't even like substitute a word. You know, sometimes people will just add an English word when they speak Vietnamese sometimes, like especially young people. I can't even do that with her because she literally won't know what I'm talking about. Sometimes I'll ask her, I'll be like, I don't know what it was. The other day I said something, I was like, mẹ có biết cái này không? And I just said like an English word and she was just like, không. Because sometimes like Vietnamese, like for example, let me think of a quick example. Okay, this is a random one, but like my kids, they have a scooter. And so like if I say scooter, she might know what I'm saying, because she in Vietnamese sometimes they will say like scooter, which is like Vietnamese sounding, but it's like the English word, so she can kind of figure out some words sometimes, which is why I'll ask her. I'll be like, mẹ có biết cái này không? And then I'll say a random word and she'll either say like yes or no. She knows like random fruits or stuff. Like she would say like banana. It's really cute. But yeah, so nowadays I speak Vietnamese at home mostly. Of course I speak English with Huy, which is interesting, right? So he speaks Vietnamese fluently, but we never ever converse in Vietnamese because we've always had a relationship in English. So it's just really weird if we speak Vietnamese to each other. So the only people I speak Vietnamese to are his mom, and then of course the kids I switch back and forth because it's just fun for me to like speak both. I'll speak in English, and then when they don't listen, I'll switch to Vietnamese because that's like the more like you're in trouble language. So it was so funny this morning. I asked my daughter, I'm like, Amelia, what language do you like to speak the most? And she said, English. And I said, okay, what other languages do you speak? And she said, Vietnamese. And I said, yeah, that's right. I don't know, like it's just funny to like have conversations with the kids about language. I mean, mostly Amelia, she's 4.5, so she kind of understands like what that means. But my son is almost 2 and he translates, like he can translate back and forth. Or if we say something in Vietnamese, he would just blurt it out in English. Like we were talking about đi ăn kem, like to go and get ice cream. And then he was just like, ice cream store. Like, it's adorable. So, you know, my daily life, I'm living in the language, I'm living in the culture as well. Like we cook Vietnamese food. We have the ban thờ, which is the offering table for like the ancestor worship. So we have that. We do offerings every month. And then like celebrate death anniversaries. We celebrate the Lunar New Year Tết. We cook different things. Like this morning, guys, I had bún chả giò for breakfast because grandma was, I call her grandma, my mother-in-law, we call her grandma. Grandma was cooking bún chả giò last night, but I had to go to a meeting for work, so I was so sad I wasn't gonna get any. And she kept a little of everything on the side for me for breakfast this morning. So I literally get up, went out for my morning walk, came home and had bún chả giò. And yo, it was lit. It was so good. What a great breakfast. What a great way to start the day. So yeah, we have like Vietnamese food here. I can cook Vietnamese food. My husband's a great cook, but he cooks like, you know, Italian food, steak. Like he'll cook like really high level stuff actually. And then I'm the one who learns how to cook Vietnamese food. So me and grandma, we cook Vietnamese food together, which is kind of fun. Like we'll roll spring rolls together, or she'll be cooking like, I don't know what. She'll be cooking something and then I'll be mixing the fish sauce. So pha nước mắm. That's just when you eat fish sauce in Vietnamese cuisine, but you don't just eat plain fish sauce unless you're crazy. So I mean, some people do. My husband does. He eats fish sauce with chili in it and that's it. I pha nước mắm, so I put, you know, fish sauce, water, lime juice, sugar, garlic, chili, mix it up, taste it, make sure it's good. And my mother-in-law loves my fish sauce, so not to brag or anything, but I feel like I earned my Viet card because I can make fish sauce, I can make pho, I can speak Vietnamese. I've been to Vietnam, yeah, I don't know. So that's why I feel like it's strange, because when I think back to like obviously my childhood, I had no knowledge of any of this. So it's like almost like I'm a different person, but also the same person. So I'm very grateful. I'm so happy that like the personality that I have allows me to accept other cultures and languages and to be able to learn and to just have this open mind for the world. So on a side note, my job is international student advisor. So I work for Rutgers University and I meet international students every day. And you know, a lot of the students from our school are from China, from India, from Korea. We don't have as many from Vietnam, but every once in a while I meet one and it's very exciting. So like I've had the, I guess, the ability to like meet people from different places on a daily basis. And when we have conversations, of course, I help them with their immigration needs in my office because we help them with like their visa and everything. So I'll help them with that stuff, but I'll also like sometimes ask them questions about like their country, or like if we want to practice speaking a little language. Like I had a Korean student come in once and I was like, 안녕하세요, and he was like, oh you know Korean. And then I was just like, 앉아주세요, like have a seat. And he was just like so blown away. Like I really don't speak much Korean, guys. I speak very minimal, but like I can introduce like 안녕하세요, 저는 audrey.a.morin. 저는 미국 사람이에요. 만나서 반갑습니다. Like, hi, my name is Audrey, blah blah blah, whatever. So I just love learning languages. I love meeting people, and again, I'm just grateful to be like the person that I am, that I can do this. So yeah, I struggle to explain myself because I cannot say I'm Vietnamese, but I have so many Vietnamese people telling me that I'm more Vietnamese than them because I speak the language and I know the culture. Like even my husband's family, they're from Hải Phòng, which is North Vietnam. They live in Ho Chi Minh City now, but they're all from the north, and the north is actually very traditional. I speak northern accent, so khi mình nói bằng tiếng Việt, mình nói Đông Bắc, like I can speak the northern accent, which is I don't know, I guess it's like the standard accent, depends on who you're asking. I don't want to get into like the politics of that, but I also learned, like, you know, to be very polite, like vâng, vâng. That's like what you say when you're listening to somebody older than you speak. It just means like yes, yes, like in a polite way. That is also a polite word I use. And I always remember, like, for example, if I'm gonna eat something, I always remember to offer to my mother-in-law first. So, you know, before I dig into something, even if I know, I'm like, I come home with a cake, I know she's not gonna want it because she doesn't eat sweets. But every time I say, mẹ muốn ăn cái này không? Mẹ muốn ăn một bánh không? Do you want a piece? Like, do you want some cake? She always says không, because she doesn't want to gain weight. But that's just like, it's just one of those things that you learn over time, as you like acclimate to a new culture and like how to behave in a different environment. So I feel like this video is like a long story slash tangent because I did not plan it out. I'm just speaking from the heart about this because I'm very passionate about me and like my identity, and I love being able to speak Vietnamese, and sometimes I even forget that it's like cool. Like, I'll just be sitting here and be like, damn, I'm sitting here in my house in America, I'm speaking Vietnamese all day, and that's crazy, like, to think that that's how I live my life. I'm very comfortable speaking Vietnamese now. Like, if I go to visit a friend who's Vietnamese, we usually speak English, but if I want to like speak a little Vietnamese, I can, and that's fun. I actually went to the Vietnamese restaurant the other day because we were making bánh xèo at home, which is the Vietnamese like fried crepe with the fillings, and you dip it in fish sauce. You have like veggies, like lettuce, herbs, and usually pickled veggies, dầu chua. So we forgot. Grandma usually makes the dầu chua. She cuts up like onions, carrots, and she makes like the vinegar, sugar, she cooks it and whatever, she makes it. We forgot. So he's like, hey, do you want to like call the Vietnamese restaurant, see if they sell like just a container of dầu chua? So I was like, okay. So I called them up, they said yes. I drove over, and when I got there I was like, oh yeah, I'm here for the dầu chua. Because they were like, you know, what do you like, do you want to pick up something? And I said, yeah, dầu chua. So I came in and I was like, yeah, we're making bánh xèo at home. And then she was just like, because I said bánh xèo, which is just like, you know, speaking the name of the dish in Vietnamese. Instead of like Americans, probably they would expect me to say like ban sa. Like, I don't know, I can't even not say it right. But like, her ears perked up a little bit. And then she's like, oh, are you making bánh xèo? And I said, no, my mother-in-law's making bánh xèo. And then like we talked a little bit, and I said a couple more little like bits of things, and she's like, are you half Vietnamese? And I said no. But like, I was so excited that she said that, because she's like, well, your accent is really good. And I was like, thank you. And then I said like, you know, my husband's from Vietnam, and I spoke Vietnamese a little bit, and she was just like blown away. Because like in this area, it's not that common for like, I mean, I feel like any area, it's not that common for a white person to speak Vietnamese, but like the place we live in, New Jersey, there's a lot of Chinese, a lot of Indians, but the Vietnamese population is smaller. Like, you find more Vietnamese in Philly, DC, like Virginia, Texas, Cali, but in this area, not so many. So I think she was just really surprised. But I was like, yes, that makes me happy that she asked if I was half. And again, I feel like this sounds very cringy. Like, I don't want to offend anybody by saying like I feel like I'm half Vietnamese, but that's exactly how I feel. I just want to be understood. So anyways, if you are like me and you're with somebody from Vietnam and you're nervous, you don't know where to start, like learning the language, the culture, leave a comment down below. I'd love to chat, we can connect. If you want to see more videos on this topic, let me know, because as you can see, I'm very passionate about this. I would love to make more videos talking about how I learned Vietnamese, maybe some cultural stuff. Again, I don't want to be taken the wrong way. I'm not trying to teach people about like their own culture, but I also have a lot of experience with Vietnamese culture, so I hope that no one's offended by this video. So thank you for watching, and leave comments, leave questions, thumb up, share the video, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Not sure what the next video will be, but I'll see you next time.